For the last bleepity bleep bleep time, you're listening to MultimediaJay Radio.
Okay, campers, rise and shine, and don't forget your booties, because it's cold out there today. It's cold out there every day. What is this, Miami Beach? Nope, it's the Northeast. Today is February 2nd, 2015. That's right, woodchuck chuckers, it's Groundhog Day! Oh, man. I just couldn't resist that little reference, as you can tell. It is Groundhog Day. We got snowed in. I called a snow day at work, and depending on when the plow guy shows up, if he shows up tonight, I might have trouble tomorrow, too, because we got close to a foot of snow and some ice crap halfway through the day mixing in, so not gonna be fun to shovel, not gonna be fun to plow, not gonna be fun to anything except build a snowman. Anyways, this is the closing segment of MultimediaJay Radio, just a tad delayed by that throat bug that I came down with right in time for the end of 2014, so whoopity-doo. I've also had some other issues that have affected my ability to hop on the microphone like this, and I will apologize in advance for this segment if you hear any rumbling, revving noises in the background. That is either somebody with a snowblower or some idiot trying to drive in this snow. Now, I have snow tires, and I chose not to bother with the mess you're getting today. There's people around here, though, with summer tires that don't share my point of view on this matter, so, or maybe they have a crappy job that's like, who cares what the roads are like? Come on in, you idiot! So, I actually know of some folks that slept at work, so they could be there the next day or something like that, but unfortunately, I should say, I don't work in a place that allows for that sort of thing, so, nuts. I am the kind of person that could be really attached to my job with little repercussions, though, but unfortunately the places I've been working in haven't exactly been friendly to that sort of thing. Anywho, so this is the closing segment of MultimediaJay Radio. To go back to the original name of the series, MultimediaJay RadioStyle. Now, this was kind of a goofball experiment that didn't quite pan out. I wanted to try out this name for this audio commentary series because, basically, I'd been listening to a bunch of podcasts at the time a few years back, and there were a couple of them that, even though they weren't like terrestrial radio, they called themselves something radio, even though they were a podcast. So people were taking liberties with that term nowadays, but as much as I've tried to do something like that myself, I've never really been able to get past the tackiness of the name, and or maybe I'm just too old-fashioned and I listen to too much talk radio and stuff. Basically, I'm at the point where I'm like, yeah, well, if it isn't radio, then maybe I shouldn't use the R word. MultimediaJay RadioStyle started out as a protest against one of YouTube's profile redos several years ago, and it was originally, basically I called it YouTube Vista because the profile redesign, which was the one before Cosmic Panda at the time, the profile redesign at the time was basically, it was going to basically take away a lot of the functionality of the YouTube channels. As I try to adjust a few things on the desk here. Probably not a good thing to do while recording, but anyways, so YouTube Vista was a revamp of the layouts, one of the first ones actually, that basically what happened was it hampered a lot of the functionality and stuff along those lines. Like, for example, the video log feature that let you comment on other people's videos on your own channel got removed. And so I'm thinking nowadays the blog and Twitter would probably be a good way to pick up for that sort, or to make up for that sort of thing, but I haven't been doing too well with the vlog, or the blogs, I should say. The text blog, not the vlog series, in terms of commenting on other folks' videos. But maybe I should pick that up at some point. There's just been so much nonsense going on. Now we got winter weather nonsense as well. If it's not snow, at least this time around, it's more straightforward snow. But if we get ice crap and wintry mix, you get a lot of idiots out there that think it's just rain or something like that. And then the next thing you know, you got people getting spun out, you got people landing in ditches, you got folks being hauled off in bags, and then people finally show just a hair of compassion and stop driving like morons for a day before they start tailgating and high beaming you again, no matter what the roads are like. Oh man, folks don't understand that you can't have your cake and eat it too. I mean, seriously. Right. Anyways, audio commentaries started out a couple years ago. Who am I kidding? Several years ago, as a protest against YouTube Vista, and they kind of evolved into their own thing. And now I thought I was going to get a lot of flack when I first started messing around with these things, because people would be like, why don't you do some real videos instead of this audio commentary stuff that's uploaded in the smallest file format possible? And indeed, I actually upload these things in 240p, but that's actually part of what makes them handy, is because they can be a quick response, although the blog would be quicker. But in terms of giving people something to listen to, or maybe something to use an MP3 converter with YouTube, a YouTube MP3 converter, that is, you know, it's kind of like a pseudo podcast type thing in this day and age, where they're basically still in 2015, there's no YouTube for audio. I've heard people say a few nice things about SoundCloud and some other websites out there, but unfortunately, no, it just hasn't panned out. Many of these audio sites that people are using for podcasts and stuff like that, they sell themselves as storage sites, basically. You're paying for a certain amount of storage and you get charged if you go over, or something along those lines. There really is nothing like YouTube, where it's about views, downloads, and advertising revenue or anything of that sort. So, yeah, it's really... there really isn't a YouTube for audio, and so surprise, surprise, people still upload audio commentaries to YouTube. One YouTuber that I can think of who does this on a regular basis is Mundane Matt. To a lesser extent, Review Tech USA pretty much does the same thing with his completely unrelated tacked-on gaming footage. So, audio commentary on YouTube, not so much a bizarre thing, although I might be a little on the simpler side with just tacking a picture of some sort onto the commentary as I upload it. So, started out as RadioStyle, which turned out to be the more descriptive name. What the heck? It turned out to be the more descriptive name, and the one that seemed to have a better ring to it. So the whole MultimediaJay radio thing is just, I've never been able to get over the tackiness. So let's just switch back. So where are we going from here? Well, first and foremost, the entire radio series will have its own playlist, as it currently does, but that'll get relegated to minor playlist status, and the entire radio series will actually get added in to the RadioStyle playlist, which will be brought back to the forefront of all of this. I originally made the name change as part of some of the big changes I made when I decided to change a lot of stuff on this channel in regard to YouTube's dicey copyright situation, but really, throwing away a good name like that, it doesn't really make any sense. I mean, it's one thing when I went from the MultimediaJay vlog essentially being a over-shoulder tech video series to the Wacky World of MultimediaJay, a much better name for it, and then actually relegated the vlogs to just being vlogs. Although I'm thinking of still taking liberties with that even after I fix this audio commentary mess. I'm thinking also for the vlogs I might do more off-topic stuff that isn't as techy, so it may look a little bit like the old, actually no, maybe I should just make another series for more off-topic stuff, like Around the House with MultimediaJay or something stupid like that. But we'll figure that out. Whether I want to branch off not-so-techy stuff into its own series. I mean, B. Bishop PCM, for example, he sometimes puts some not-so-techy stuff into his B. Bishop PCM's World series, so I really don't know at this point. However, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see where this goes from here. Something else I'm thinking of doing, too, is bringing back I might have mentioned this earlier, I'm thinking of bringing back a feature that I haven't had on this channel since the olden days of, the very early days of my involvement on here. Quick O-Flicks. So, they originally were supposed to be like quicker videos in between the main videos for the old tech series or the instructional series years and years ago. Problem is, they kept being way too long, so we had a 10-minute limit on YouTube back then. Sometimes I'd have to cut down the so-called quick O-Flicks, and so, yeah, it didn't really work out all that well. So I'm thinking maybe try it again with a smaller 5-minute limit or something like that. Something along those lines. Actually make short videos of just one thing and one thing only. But this whole YouTube thing is really in a state of flux as I try out new stuff, try new ideas, and maybe sometimes, like in the case of what I'm doing here, scrap some ideas that don't really pan out all that well and go back to what worked before. So, yeah, audio commentaries are by no means done on this channel. Matter of fact, one of the reasons I'm going forward with this switch back to RadioStyle is because I want to get back to this. I mean, when I'm having vlogs pick up the slack when it comes to chiming in on current events, that's when you know something's wrong. I mean, there's so many things I could be talking about. For example, WoW Insider, one of the premier World of Warcraft news sources / vlogs that I've been reading for the past several years, since Burning Crusade, actually. They've also had a podcast, the WoW Insider Show. Well, AOL has decided to downsize and shut down a lot of these more vloggy type news sites. So Joystick, the parent organization of WoW Insider, is actually getting folded, and WoW Insider is getting shut down with it. Now, I don't know where the WoW Insider talent's going to end up. I don't think there really is anything else like WoW Insider anywhere on the internet. I think really what needs to happen is the Curse Network or something like that needs to pick up WoW Insider, because there really isn't anything to replace it in terms of, a cross between journalism and vlogging about World of Warcraft and the state of Warlords of Draenor. This is going to create a hole in things. I mean, MMO Champion does some of this stuff to an extent, but it's more about game updates, straight up blue text and game updates and some news stories that they bring over from other sites. Not so much maybe, people who play WoW a lot chiming in on things with that game. So this is one of many topics that I could be talking about, but my own issues with getting this sign-off done have kept me from getting this done in a timely fashion and making the switch back to RadioStyle in a timely fashion. But no more. So this is it. This is the end of this radio experiment, and now it's time to get back to the far superior name for my audio commentary series, MultimediaJay RadioStyle. So without any further references to Bill Murray movies, because, well, I really like Groundhog Day, I just had to throw that in at the beginning. But without any further random references out of nowhere, thanks for listening, everybody. This is MultimediaJay signing off. Thanks for listening, and thanks for stopping by.
MultimediaJay Radio has concluded its broadcast run. We would like to thank everyone who tuned in and invite you to tune back in when MultimediaJay RadioStyle relaunches later this month. Thank you for listening to MultimediaJay Radio.